Hello everyone, I hope this video finds you well. This is our virtual back to school night video. The agenda, I'll just do a quick little introduction of myself, go over kind of the class and what I hope students get out of the class, the expectations, routines, schedules. Then I'll go over the class policies with the syllabus, and then lastly I'll give you, I'll kind of go over ways to communicate with me. All right, so that's the plan for tonight's video. So we'll go ahead and get started. Mr. Strickland. So who am I? So I'm going into my 6th year at Soo High. I've been teaching world geography all 6 years. I've got my bachelor's in social sciences and my teacher credential both from San Diego State University. And then I went back to school to get my master's degree in educational technology. I'm born and raised in Chula Vista. I'm from this community. From the area. My mom went to Sweetwater High School, so I'm very familiar with the community. In my spare time, I do coach sports. I coach football and basketball. I'm also an aspiring traveler. Whenever I have the funds and the time, I love to try to get out and explore the world. In terms of teaching, my pedagogy or my philosophy, students about it, my biggest thing is just respect. And I feel like as long as there's respect there, we won't have any issues. And I think just teaching them that ideal that, as human beings, we should respect each other, respect each other's opinions, respect each other's ideas and thoughts. Even if we don't agree with them, we should still have respect for them. And, I've told them countless times, probably within just these 3-4 weeks of school, that, I'm a very patient teacher, but if once I feel like either classmates are disrespecting each other, or a student's disrespecting me, or a guest that's in the classroom, that's when we'll run into some problems. I really try to pull that out of them to be respectful people, and that's all I really ask in terms of behavior. The distance learning logistics, this is directly from the district. These are the roles. Basically, the main things for you guys to know is that we do have daily blocks. It's split by odd and even days, so odd periods one day, even days another. And the first 30 to 45 minutes, right at the start of the period, we'll have a 30 to 45 minute synchronous learning where I'm on here, we're communicating, I'm going over stuff, we're discussing things. And then the last 45 minutes, students are supposed to be actively doing work for that class independently on their own time to get whatever work's done needed. Just to make it clear for my students, after I hang up on our live call, I usually stay on there for like 20. I basically just stay on the call, so if they ever need to jump back in to ask questions about the work they're doing on their own, I'm usually there to help them. And I'm also pretty good at responding to emails and stuff like that. And then the student role, just big thing is make sure they're there for the live calls on time, and then they're actually actively being a part of the class. They should not be like just turning on the meeting and then they're playing video games off to the side. Or I've already heard students like and this is, and I know everyone's situation is different, and there might be emergencies and things like that, and they're just at least trying to be in the meeting. But I've heard people driving in the car and doing other things like that, which once again, life takes over at times, and maybe that's the case. And some students don't have an environment where they could be in quiet time and have like an actual place to learn. But if they could do the best of their ability to during those 45 minutes to be focused and actually sit there and be paying attention and actively participating in the class, that is like the biggest thing we ask for from our students, especially for the meetings. And the biggest thing, I want students to feel comfortable reaching out to me and letting me know their situation. So if things are happening like their Wi-Fi is not working or they're not understanding assignments, I'd rather them reach out than just give up, basically. Tools, our 3 biggest tools that we're going to be using is Google Classroom. That's where I post all the assignments, a lot of messages, a lot of links to stuff they need to do. This is like our main hub of our class. Google Meets is where we have our live meetings. And then Jupyter Grades is where I will post all their grades for things that they turn in. And the next thing is the class syllabus, and I'm only going to show a couple things here. But the grading policy is probably one of the bigger question marks that a lot of parents have, so I'm going to go over that. I copied this from the district website. Basically, they wanted students to know that when we ended school last March, students' grades were held harmless. Basically, their grades cannot go lower than they were before the schools closed down. Okay, but the big thing is with the start of distance learning this year, that is not the case. Students will get graded on based on what they produce in the class. So that means their grade can drop, they can fail the class, they can, you know, get A pluses, which we all hope for. So I just want to make that clear because last semester, I had students last semester that basically were like, oh well, I have an A in the class, so I'm just not gonna try anymore. But that's not the case for this time around. Okay, the one thing that is a change than normal is if the student is going to be receiving a D or an F, then myself and you parent and the parent of the child will have to have a conversation, or at least I need to notify and kind of give you a rundown of why they're going to be receiving that grade, just so you're aware of what's going on. So that's the big difference, that they're requiring us to do that. Citizenship. So I talked about this as well. So their grades for citizenship is going to be more based on attendance and then just their effort and participation, because I can't really grade their behavior and how they follow directions and their actions in the class, because once again, we're in distance learning, so it's mostly going to be based on attendance and their effort. So the last thing on here that I wanted to go, or there's two more things. One is the homework policy. So the homework policy is I don't grade assignments daily. So if there's an assignment I give one day and it's due the next day, I don't grade it that next day. And I do this for a couple reasons. One, I've noticed over the past few years, a lot of students struggle with homework. Like, I don't know, a lot of students just, I don't know if they choose not to do it or they forget or they're being lazy or whatever the case may be, but we don't get a lot of homework finished the next day. The second thing is, I know that they have 5 other classes they're dealing with. Some of them play sports, family stuff going on, so I try to give a little bit of leeway with the assignments. I do give them the incentive of finishing on time. I do give extra credit for students that actually turn in their work when it's supposed to be due. Like, for instance, if there was something assigned today and it was due tomorrow and they turn it in tomorrow, then they'll get extra points for literally just turning in the assignment when they were supposed to anyways. But if they can't turn it in the next day, they still have time to get it done, because I won't grade their work until the end of the unit. What some students do, though, is they try to take advantage of that, and then they'll just put work off, and then it gets like 3 or 4 days before I'm going to check all their work for the unit, and they're missing like 10 assignments, and then they don't finish them because it's just overwhelming and too much work, and then they get a really bad grade on their unit portfolio. So it is important that they try to stay on task. And then the last thing I just have here is attendance and absences. So there is attendance being taken for these classes. But I want to make it clear that even if a student is absent, whether it's their Wi-Fi wasn't working, they couldn't get into the class because the computer was glitching, or they needed to be out that day because of a family emergency or whatever, they're still going to be responsible for the work that they missed. By the way, I record all of our meetings, so they can go back and watch the class even if they were absent that day and see what we did. But they are still going to be responsible for the work that they missed. So if there are questions that you have after this video, please feel free to ask. How can you ask them? Here is my contact method. So you can send me an email to my district email, which is right here. I do check that regularly. Jupiter Messenger is where a lot of parents usually send me messages, because I think you guys have like your own login and you can be able to contact teachers. So you can send me a message there, any questions you have there. I also have a Google Voice phone number. So it's like a fake phone number that they give me through Google, but you could just send a direct text message to that and then it comes straight to my phone and I can check those. And then I also have a class Instagram page where I post a lot of announcements and just updates on things that are going on campus, as well as if we're doing any like fun activities in class, I might show some of them as well. But if you want to follow the Instagram page and follow along with me and our class this year, then please feel free to do that. So that's basically it for today. I know a lot of information. I just like to be as clear and thorough as possible with you guys, so that I can try to eliminate as many questions as possible. But if you still have questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm excited to be back working with your kids and doing what I love to do. So I hope this school year, will be a great one, and everything works out as we progress throughout the year. But thank you guys for joining tonight. I really do appreciate you guys showing interest in your students' education. And that's it from me. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys later.